What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. Howdy, partners. Welcome to this side of It's Monday already. We've sprung forward. That's fun. I like spring forward because the light is lighter, but it's still too chilly to really enjoy the ambiance. And every time when you get that extra daylight, you make all these plans like, I'm gonna go out and take more walks and more of this. Yeah, let's see if I could do that this time around. I'm gonna try to hold myself to it. Every time I tell myself that, I just end up looking out of my window and being like, oh, it's so beautiful outside. But I'm going to sit here, watch this beautiful sunrise, everything from my room. So hopefully you guys had a good weekend. Mine was pretty good. It was a car show this weekend, so my husband insisted I go, which is always like one of those wifely duty things, Car shows are cool, I guess. I mean, I don't really care about them, but my husband does, so I go and look at them all and think like, nice, yeah. But yeah, that was that, and yeah, I didn't do much. I cleaned my house, cooked dinner, just the usual. Really, the week wears you out so much that once the weekend comes, and I mean, if you do get out amongst the people, you just dream of just being home in bed and doing nothing. So I always enjoy that, but So let's get into it. The Oscars were tonight, the 95th Oscars. Let's see what won here. Best Picture, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Never watched that. Best Actress, Michelle Yeoh for that same movie. Best Actor, Brendan Fraser for The Whale. All these are going to be movies I've never seen. Best Director, Everything Everywhere. Best Original Song, Natu Natu from RRR. Best Documentary, Navani. Best Adapted Screenplay, Woman Talking. Best Original Screenplay, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best Costume Designer, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. They normally always win for that. Best International Feature, All Quiet on the Western Front. Best Supporting Actor, Ke Huy Quan, Everything Everywhere. Only thing I know about him is he was dad in Indiana Jones, so I like to keep saying that. Best Animated Feature, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Best Visual Effects, The Way of Water. Best Cinematography, All Quiet on the Western Front. Best Supporting Actress, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best Film Editing, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best Score, All Quiet on the Western Front. Best Sound, Top Gun Maverick. That's interesting. Best Product Design, All Quiet on the Western Front. Best Makeup and Hairstyling, The Well. Best Documentary, The Elephant Whispers. Best Short, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. Best Short Film, Irish Goodbye. So there's that. Nothing exciting. I don't believe anybody got slapped, so there's that. So back to the boringness of the Oscars. So this weekend, I'm going to play this Silicon Valley Bank collapse situation. Let's get into it.
Yeah, President Biden is in Wilmington right now, and it's expected to be a weekend off for him. This was certainly not a weekend off for President Biden. He's been working very closely on this throughout the weekend, we're told. And something Janet Yellen said this morning, I think, is important to mention, that the idea that there's not going to be a federal bailout. This is something she said on Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan this morning, and it was a huge concern of many that both had their money involved in Silicon Valley Bank and those who did not. This is a very big concern, and a takeover is like what we're seeing here was seen as absolutely the best solution. On the congressional side, the California delegation, both the Republicans and Democrats, sent a letter this afternoon. Representative Josh Gottheimer from the Problem Solvers Caucus really headed up this effort, sent a letter to both Treasury and to the Federal Reserve saying that they think their top priority is engineering a sale of the bank. And of course, some of this has already happened, but the other priorities of them is prioritizing and finding a buyer, encouraging banks that have relationships with SVP depositors to extend temporary lines of credit, and offering liquidity through repurchase agreements. Now, the other big part of this is whether or not the FDIC limit of $250,000 would be raised, but even temporarily, that requires congressional intervention, and the House, they're out of town this week, so that would require the House to actually reconvene here in Washington. I'm watching the president's Twitter feed now. He has not tweeted anything just yet about this. We haven't received any statements specifically from the White House, but just to go over some of the top lines again with you here, depositors are going to have access to all of their money starting Monday, March 13th. That's tomorrow. That means all depositors, both under the $250,000 limit and above the $250,000 limit, and no losses associated with the resolution of Silicon Valley Bank, they say, will be borne by the taxpayer. Again, whether or not you have money in Silicon Valley Bank. Alicia?
So pretty much this is about this bank that pretty much lost they fit the money. The bank just went under, and it's Silicon Valley Bank. And so they're just saying that people will have access to their thing, to their money. That's what he's saying. Yeah, that's scary. And I think that's every banker's fear, is to have your bank fall. But also the government is saying that they are not going to bail out this bank. So, yeah, that's wild. Texas man sues ex-wife's friends, alleging they helped her get abortion pills in violation of state law. So this is interesting. Was it his baby, or does he have a vendetta? So a Texas man is suing 3 friends of his former wife, alleging that they helped her obtain abortion medication in violation of state law after the Supreme Court overruled the Roe v. Wade last year. Marcus Silva filed a wrongful death and conspiracy lawsuit Thursday in Galveston against the 3 women. The lawsuit includes screenshots of text messages filed in the suit to support Silva's claims that the 3 women arranged to obtain pills and conceal their actions. His ex-wife, exempt from the liability case as per Texas law, and is not named as a defendant. NBC is not naming the 3 women being sued or Silva's former wife. Silva and his wife divorced in February, but were still married when she conceived in July. It's unclear from Silva's lawsuit why his former wife chose to terminate her pregnancy, but it appears from text messages that she had already planned to leave him by that point. I know either way he will use it against me, she wrote to her friends, according to the text. If I told him before, which I'm not, he would use it as a way to try to stay with me. The text messages are not dated, but some states have passed trigger laws restricting abortion that took effect on June 24th. See, this is why you can't be in your friend's business this much, because this little vindictive husband is going to try to put these women in jail, ladies. So be careful about getting involved in these jaded husbands, because it's beyond not worth it right there. Long Island stepmother found guilty of murder in 8-year-old boy's freezing death. Let's see here.
How do you find the defendant, Angela Polina, as to count 1, murder in the 2nd degree? Guilty or not guilty? Guilty.
Angela Polina rested her head on her hands as she braced herself for the unanimous verdict. Guilty of murder and child endangerment in the death of her 8-year-old stepson, Thomas Valva.
Unlike other cases, we had the video and we had the text messages, and when you marry those two together, it really created a compelling story of what happened to those two poor boys.
The trial lasted 2 weeks with difficult testimony. Jurors were shown Thomas's autopsy photos, videos of him and his brother Anthony shivering on the garage floor, trying to stay warm, and disturbing testimony that the boys weren't allowed to use any bathroom inside the house.
I was very sad to be sending someone to jail for murdering a child. But I looked at her, and I didn't look at her a whole lot, but I think she knew it was coming.
Juror number 3 said all but one juror wanted to convict, so they requested readbacks of what caused the hypothermia that killed Thomas. That helped them reach the verdict.
The fact that the evidence shown that it couldn't have been just the hosing down in the backyard alone that made the child hypothermia. That meant it was also the basement, the garage floor, which the defendant was involved with making the child sleep there.
During the trial, defense attorney Matthew Toohey tried to make the case that it was Polina's ex, Michael Valva, who killed Thomas by hosing him down on a 19-degree day. But the prosecution argued it was Polina who insisted the boys stay in the frigid garage with no mattress, blankets, or means to stay warm for months that led to Thomas's demise. Toohey was asked if he regrets putting her on the stand.
No, I don't regret that. I don't know what they thought she lied about, so no. So she wanted to testify too, so.
The courtroom was packed when the verdict was read, and Polina's ex and father of her youngest daughter is glad justice has been served.
It feels good, but it doesn't fix what these kids went through and what Tommy went through. It doesn't fix it. I'm glad she's being held responsible, thank God.
Once again, like, why was she disciplining somebody else's children? Like, I get you guys get married, but I don't discipline my husband's children, and vice versa. Like, let them handle that. That's sad, though. Let's see what else we have. Mike Pence says Trump endangered his family on January 6th. He's speaking out about that. DeSantis is feeling a lot of love in Iowa. I'm sure that he's going to be the Republican candidate, even though he hasn't announced it. Everybody keeps thinking that it's going to be Trump again, but I completely doubt it. Wow. Men on Pinterest are creating sex-themed image boards of little girls. A platform makes it easy. Like other kids, 9-year-old Victoria signed up for Pinterest because she wasn't allowed on TikTok. Her mother fears she might encounter dangerous content or individuals on the popular video sharing app. Pinterest, meanwhile, seemed safe, but while the third grader was pinning pictures of baby animals, craft ideas, and nail art into her image boards, grown men were pinning her. Clips of Victoria uploaded of herself to Pinterest, such as one in which she cheerfully turns a cartwheel, have been compiled by at least 50 users into their own boards with titles like Young Girls, as well as Sexy Little Girls, Hot Delicious, and Guilty Pleasures. Those boards are filled with dozens and hundreds and sometimes thousands of photos and videos of children. I'm shocked and disgusted, said Victoria's mother. The one person the girl followed on the platform, I thought Pinterest was a safe place to be creative and inspired. Natalia asked that both she and her daughter be identified only by their first names for fear of attracting more unwanted attention to her daughter. That is wild. It says over a 1 month period, NBC News created a Pinterest account and reviewed hundreds of girls' Pinterest accounts, as well as their followers' pages, many of whom appeared to be men. Yikes, that's scary. The majority of the girls' profiles were algorithmically surfaced by Pinterest itself during the course of the reporting. This material that is innocently posted and is now being used to drive sexual interest in children. Let's see. Pinterest removed pages whose links NBC News shared as part of the request for comment for the company. After NBC News asked about the sexually suggestive boards, Espinosa said Pinterest was planning to roll out a new feature next week enabling users to report boards, which is not currently possible. That is terrible. Wow. You guys have to be so careful because, I mean, even I would never have think that Pinterest place of recipes and all that would, but they are everywhere. I mean, I think sometimes we're just so oblivious to where do the perverts actually hang out. Let's see. Yeah, that's wild. Let's get into some celebrity news, see what these little kooks are up to. Jimmy Kimmel hosted this year, and of course he talked about the Will Smith slap. What else is there to talk about? Really just Oscar fashion. Yeah, nothing. They're making a Scream 6, which is kind of crazy. It's like I've never even seen the rest of the Screams, let alone Scream 6. Let's see what else we have. Sonny Hostin argues Will Smith shouldn't be upset over Chris Rock's recent jokes. He wasn't the one who got slapped. Oh my gosh, we're still gonna be talking about this. Black family awarded $8 million after being singled out for their race and the rest for suspicion of car theft. So, if you watch BMF, one of the City Girls, Young Miami, was in it, and a lot of people criticized her acting. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible. It's really just kind of repetitive news, which I guess is a good thing because I don't see anything worth talking about that would wow me, let alone you guys. So I watched this movie called Barbarian on HBO, and it is the funniest movie. It is about people that live in an Airbnb, and I thought it was just the funniest. So if you guys are bored, watch it. It will give you lots of laughter. Let's get into some of our posts on Reddit because guess what? There's nothing else that I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about too much more death and mayhem. Suicide is the leading cause of death in men from ages 25 to 34. Man, what can we do to change this? See what you men are saying. When I was in the Army, if you injured yourself during training or whether they got you all the medical care needed to get back on duty, all the while you were never made to feel less than because physical injuries were natural occurrences from what we did. But if you just so much as whispered you were having any kind of emotional struggles or tough time psychologically, your weapons card was seized, your security clearance suspended, you were placed on restrictive duty, shunned and ostracized by your command, and ridiculed by your peers for being a PUSSY. That is very true. And I think not only so much for the military, but anytime you, especially as a man, say that you can't cope mentally, society kind of does shun you, which is kind of sad. It's just not deemed normal yet, even though people, I'm 100% sure that everybody suffers mentally these days, and I just don't get why it's still shunned. I think As long as you're aware and actively getting help, we should stop shunning that. I think more men should talk about it. I know that it might look like feminizing men, but I would rather a man be vocal and learn how to put into words how he's feeling, even if he's just saying, I'm not feeling myself or whatever, but we should embrace that for sure. But I do also see the side of them, just getting the help. But yeah, if you're in the military, I'm not going to say they shouldn't take your weapon, because they are, it's like a win-win, lose-lose situation, because either way, taking precautions it's just, I don't know. But sometimes you got to put your mental health first. Someone said loneliness is the greatest scourge in Western society. We took a sensible desire for individual rights and perverted it into a session with individual existence. We need to focus on rebuilding social networks, not the digital kind, the real flesh and blood kind that humans are designed to operate in. I agree with you, but I think we're too far gone. I don't think we'll ever get back to social interaction, and I think that we prefer the solitude, which is sad. I don't know. I don't even know how to get back to it. I mean, sports really is the last thing that kind of brings people together, and not everybody likes to watch sports. So I agree, but I just think we're too far gone. Let's see what else we got here. But I definitely agree with people being shunned for that. For just talking about their mental health. What makes you and your partner more than friends? My wife and I stopped almost all forms of intimacy for a couple of years now. She doesn't even change in front of me anymore. She doesn't like it when I say we're just roommates now, but aren't we? And someone said, man, you need to have a serious conversation with her and ask what is going on. This is not something you are going to get an answer on the internet. There are many reasons something like this could happen. It's possible she feels the same way, and it is a lack of communication or 1,000 things. And he said, we've had many conversations. She said that she needs for us to talk more. The problem with me is that unless I feel connection, I don't talk. Somebody said something like both of you are waiting to feel like making the necessary changes before actually making them. Someone said, he responded back, like, are you one of you guys having an affair? Just saw your comment about the affair yet. Honestly, sounds like you, as in both of you, you have never been able to get past it, and it caused a rift. I can't imagine staying with someone who had an affair, but I say you both should have an honest discussion. Right now, it straight up sounds like you were just hanging on for the sake of hanging on. Eventually, one or both of you are going to end up having an affair at this rate, because this relationship isn't fulfilling your needs. For sure, like years without sex. Are y'all really just staying together to pay the bills? That is weird. We have sex 2 to 3 times per week, and even on days that we don't. There's still an awful lot of cuddling, body contact, etc. Question for you, why did it just stop? And this guy said that his girl did have an affair a couple of years ago, and since then our relationship has drastically changed. We've always struggled with intimacy, plastic husband wanting it and wife not, but never like this. A lot of people are saying you guys should just break up. All that. Someone said, man, if my lady stopped changing in front of me, I would be devastated. I mean, you can go without sex, but intimacy is a huge part of a relationship. Maybe it's time to find another or spend time on your own for a while. What makes a woman not worth pursuing to you? Let's see what the guys are saying. Put effort into the conversation. They don't like girls that are effortless. They think you're not into them and don't want to be seen as creepy. An arm touch, big smiles when you see him. Even a hug, playing with your hair, and even asking him to coffee or lunch will definitely make him stay around. If she doesn't seem interested, I'll lose interest. The last thing I need to do is pursue a woman who isn't interested in me. Flakiness, seeming shallow or overly materialistic. Not having any curiosity about the world. Anger issues. So, masculine personality, that's the new buzzword for men. High body count and bossy and pushy. Drug usage is a big one. Don't stick it in. Crazy, no siree. Also, if someone never responds, I'll assume you're interested. Or I always text first. Not asking me any questions. When I ask about your hobbies or something, at least ask about mine. Poor personality, a lady that invests nothing into character development, only knows how to look good, flirt, seduce me, and spend my money. Obsessed with lip injections, lip coloring, eyelashes, etc. Too frequently an indicator of issues. Interesting. What's a nice way to tell a guy who won't take the hint that I'm not interested in anything more than friendship? Somebody say, you're going to hurt his feelings. You might lose his friendship. It's not in your control. It's in his. I bank on him disappearing. Nobody wants to be around somebody that they have feelings for when it's not returned. Just straight up tell them that you aren't interested in anything more than friendship. Even if he does stick around, you getting a new boyfriend or other dudes is probably going to cause them to be weird, even lash out. Not your fault for not having feelings, and it is not his fault for developing them. Use a megaphone. Guys don't do hints. If you think you're being mean, you're not. You're saving him time and emotional anguish. Rip that band-aid off and hope he takes it well. If not, he wasn't worth being your friend anyway. Somebody said, say I'm pregnant. Stop hitting, friend zoned him. I'm sorry, buddy. I don't think of you like a brother. It's not gonna happen. Just tell him. It's simple. He can man up and accept it. I have had this happen to me before, and I've lost friends over it, which kind of sucked because I thought we were just actually friends, but they were just waiting to date me, and that kind of sucked. But yeah, you just gotta rip the band-aid off. And I think that's why a lot of dudes do get friend zoned, because girls know deep down that guys aren't gonna take it well, so they kind of just be nice. But then when they do get a new boyfriend or something, it's kind of like you end up losing that so-called friend that you thought you had. Men who couldn't stop thinking about their ex for a long time. How did you eventually get over it? This guy says it took him 6 years. I finally woke up and knew it was time to let her go. So I went to the basement and unlocked her and let her go. Hasn't happened yet. After 5 years, we broke up because I knew we were moving in different directions. I still love her with everything I have. She's married with kids, and I know her husband. I'm happy with my girlfriend in my life. We were so different in that it didn't work. She and I still communicate. The love still remains. We both know it wasn't meant for us, but we've succeeded apart. I'm happy that I can enjoy her success, her husband and kids' success, and share my wins with her. I guess the wisdom helps with these things, but my heart still hurts. Interesting. I guess this person is able to love two at once. The memory never fades completely. It will always linger forever. It's the feeling attached to it that changes most. Somebody said, it took me 2.5 years to let go of my ex. Even though she begged me to give her another chance, she had slept with my brother while I was in jail, so it wasn't just some simple petty reason I left her. When I got out of jail, I tried to make it work with her for around 4 months, but she would never admit to sleeping with my brother. I told her with the promise that if she would confess to me, I would have forgiven her, and I really would have. The fact that she refused to confess it to me showed me that she was not remorseful. She begged me to take her back, but I could not get over the incident. It took me 2.5 years after that to actually get over her and move on. During that time, I battled with heroin addiction. I used heroin to numb the pain of her memory. I finally got over her when I decided to get clean off drugs and go through a healing process. I cried a lot during that time, but it was a healthy crying. Eventually, I got over her and moved on to another relationship. My ground rules for any of my new girlfriends is that there is to be absolutely no flirting with my brother. That is a no-fly zone. I catch them flirting with my brother, and it's automatic deal breaker. Of course, I'll explain the situation between my brother and I so that the women understand that I'm not some jealous freak. I think that your brother is the least of your problems. I think you don't pick the right women, dude. The list is long. I think the trick is building a present and future that is more amazing than the one you imagined with her. That's a good way to get over someone. The fastest way to get over her is spend time living with memories and the pain. Go through the hard doors in the memory and you will eventually get to a better place. Dude, I'm gonna keep it 100%. When I woke up a few days after a breakup and felt like crap, I got up, watched this gore video my friend sent me, and I felt disgusted. But I realized at least my testicles aren't glued to my forehead, and I should go run 5 miles every morning. Worked for me. That's all I can say. I know, like, for me getting over a breakup, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of like dating and just yeah, like the other person said, just making new memories, creating new memories, and then eventually, yeah, the memory fades. That's always worked for me, but never turn into heroin. Don't turn to heroin, kids, to numb the pain. It's just not the way to go. Well, guys, this is Monday. Don't use drugs. You know, when you think your life is bad, then you read these stories and it's like, you know what? I've never been that hurt to where I wanted to resort to heroin. And that's a good thing. I think that's positive. F is for Family is signing out. I will be back with you guys tomorrow with some more crazy stories, of course, and more news. You guys stay safe out there, and we will chat again soon. Toodles.